What's up guys, Aaron here, and today we're doing the full review of Google Glass. Now this is part one in a two-part series of the Google Glass full review. Now I wanted to make two different parts, and one in a cinematic style and one in a traditional style. So this being the traditional style, and the cinematic style review will be up immediately after. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the full review of Google Glass. So let's first start off with what we get when we purchase Google Glass. So when you first get Glass, this is what you're going to receive. You're going to receive a white box that says Glass on it. It does say XE at the bottom, which is for Explorer Edition. So here is the charging cable. It is a flat style cable, and it does have a black and white look to it. That way when you go to plug in your wall charger, you don't have to fumble around and see which way goes where. You can see that the black goes with the black and the white goes with the white easily. It's nothing big, but it's something that I like. So let's go ahead and put this off to the side. Now the shades are pretty nice in my opinion. What I do is slide this open, and it comes in this nice protective sleeve. It's like a microfiber. I think this is a Japanese microfiber. And all you do is just slide the frames out right here. As you can see here, it says Glass on the inside, and we have this cutout spot right here for your prism to slide through. Now, these are really easy to install, and I'll show you how to install them here in a minute. Next, this is the actual box that you'll be receiving Glass in. Once again, it says Glass here in the middle. It also says XE at the bottom, which is Explorer Edition. So immediately opening the Glass box up, you are greeted with Glass itself that is covered in this wax type of paper. So peeling back the paper, we are greeted with Glass itself. And you can see that Glass sits in here very nicely. We have the nose pieces that sit inside the box. We also have some instructions on how to get started with Glass. We have here at the top, it says listen, so this is where your bone conduction speaker is and where you're actually going to receive your audio from. Now here we have our on and off button. Right here is our touchpad, which is this whole area on the outside. Next we have our capture button, or our shutter button for taking a picture or capturing a video. And here is our actual prism, and this is what we're going to be looking at to view our information. So after removing this piece of cardboard that Glass sits in, you have your carrying pouch that is included as well. Once again, this is Japanese microfiber. It's very nice. It is soft here on the top and soft all the way around, but we have a hard type of shell here at the bottom, and this is going to be to protect Google Glass and actually protect the prism. So once again, a very nice bag. It is a drawstring bag, and inside of our bag we have our mono earbud. Now the mono earbud, this is going to be to help with audio. As you can see, it just plugs straight into Glass and then goes straight into your ear. And once again, helping with audio and bringing more crisp sounding quality audio to your ear. Now as you can see, this is what it looks like. Once again, plugs into Glass here, and this goes straight into your ear. Next you get this instruction manual on how to use the drawstring on your included pouch. And also it says this pouch has been crafted using Japanese microfiber made from recycled material, designed to be both lightweight and durable, and take this with you to protect your Glass and its accessories. And inside here is just a little bit more information. You can see here we have some additional nose guards. So our next piece of information here says you got questions, we got answers. And this is just going over some of the commonly asked questions and helping you troubleshoot some issues that you might have with Glass. Next up is this piece of literature that says you're a pioneer, a founder, and an architect of what's possible. You are a Glass explorer. We have an exciting journey ahead of us, and what happens next starts with you. So as you can see, that's all we get inside of the box. So next, let's go over the design and the hardware. Now Glass is available in 5 different colors. Charcoal, which is similar to a dark gray, which is what we are looking at here. And next there is Tangerine, which is similar to red. Cotton, which is white. Shale, which is a dark beige. And Sky, which is blue. Now I went with the dark gray because in my opinion it looks the most subtle. Another good thing that comes along with purchasing Google Glass is the Glass Explorer community, and just the people in general, and the overall feedback and information that you guys can gather from each other is invaluable. And one thing that's going around the Glass Explorer community is that it's kind of like a team when it comes to colors. So you're either a team charcoal or a team tangerine, a team cotton, a team shale, or a team sky. So as you guys can see, I am team charcoal. Now I highly encourage you, before you purchase Glass, to make sure that you get the right color that you're interested in, because this is definitely somewhat of a fashion statement since you will be wearing them on your face. So also in the design and the hardware category is the actual band that we have here on Glass. Now this is a fully titanium band that goes around glass and is also here stretched down onto these nose strips. So titanium is definitely an awesome material to have, so it's fully bendable, it won't break easily. Now glass is both touch and voice activated, so here on the side we have a full touch panel which you can activate by swiping up, down, and back and forth, and you can also pinch to zoom as well. Now that's how you activate the touch controls. Now when it comes to the voice activation, it is similar to how Google Now operates. Now glass is running Android 4.4 KitKat and also running XE17. Now when it comes to audio, we have a bone conduction speaker back here, and what this is going to do is this is going to actually vibrate sound into your eardrum. Now I think it was a very smart move for Google to throw in a bone conduction speaker here. Now the biggest reason that I think the bone conduction speaker was an awesome move for Google to implement is that you can still hear the audio that's around you. Now Google is trying to heavily implement that glass does not distract your everyday life, but rather adds features to your life. So with a bone conduction speaker, you're still able to hear the audio around you, which is very important to be able to interact with both audio coming from glass as well as the audio around you and people talking to you. Now glass is a dual core SoC system that runs at 1 gigahertz with 1 gigabyte of RAM. Alright guys, next up is price. Now Google Glass is not cheap. It is $1,500 before tax and about $1,600 and something after taxes. So this is definitely a big investment. This is something for someone who's heavily into wearables, someone who's definitely going to be taking the wearable game serious, and also someone who is possibly a developer to help develop applications for glass. Now there's a lot of things that you can do with $1,500. You can buy, for instance, a Retina display MacBook Pro, which is definitely going to make you some type of money if you have a business, an online business, or you do any type of work on a computer itself. It's definitely a good investment to have a very nice laptop. So once again, that is pretty much equal to a 13-inch Retina display MacBook Pro. Now you do get a 30-day return policy, and you also get a 1-year warranty when purchasing glass. Now next up is battery life, and battery life is extremely relative only because you can do different things on glass, so of course it's going to drain battery in different ways. So if you're using navigation and you're using recording videos longer than 10 seconds, then yeah, you can expect the battery to drain really fast. So the battery life does get better on each upgrade from XE versions. I started off, I think, on XE version 11, and now we're all the way on 17. So once again, each time that the Explorer Edition or XE software is updated, the battery life seems to improve. So once again, it is extremely relative, and it does depend on what you're going to be doing with glass itself. Now you can expect to get anywhere from around 4 hours to possibly 8 hours. Now some people have experienced horrible battery life with their glass. Once again, this is a beta product. This isn't the way glass is going to be when it's actually released to the public. This probably isn't even going to be the way that glass actually looks when it's released to the public. So some people were saying that they only experienced 2 to 3 hours of battery life out of their glass. Once again, personally, I've been getting anywhere from around 6 to 8 hours with glass. Now, if you are having problems with your battery on your glass, be sure to check out the video I'm going to have linked down below, which is 5 battery saving tips for Google Glass. Next is how to get glass. Now, first off, you need to have an invite from Google itself or from a friend. So a friend can send you an invite. So if you don't get an invite from a friend, you actually have to get an invite from Google themselves. Now, on April 15th of 2014, Google actually released Glass to the public for that single day, and Google has said to actually have sold out of all of their units and had to actually stop the sale earlier than they expected to stop it because they actually ran out of units. So glass is definitely something that people want. Now this is something that's only available in the United States, which brings me to my next point here on how to get glass, and that is that you need to be a US resident and you need to be 18 years or older. Now you also need to have $1,500 plus tax. You need to have a Google Wallet account and a credit card. Now anybody 18 and over can get their own credit card and their own bank account, and anybody that has a bank account can also sign up for a Google Wallet account. So next up, what can glass do? Now glass can take a picture at 5 megapixels. The colors are vibrant, nothing's washed out, everything looks pretty nice in my opinion. You can also record a hands-free POV video at 720p HD. Now I have to say that the video quality is extremely good in my opinion. Saturation's nice. There is no frame rate loss. Once again, it is 720p HD, but I can imagine when Google releases this to the public, it should be a full 1080p HD video camera. Now next, glass can also make a phone call. So all you need to do is initiate a phone call by simply tilting your head back and saying, "Okay, glass, make a call to, and then say the recipient's name, and Glass will initiate the call. So not only is Glass a wearable computer, but it's also a Bluetooth headset. They can also send an SMS text message, which is very convenient. So when you're on the go, you can send somebody a message without having to actually whip your phone out. So it is a hands-free way to send a text. You can also send an email hands-free as well, which is also extremely useful. Next, you can perform a Google search. So all you have to do is say, "Okay, Glass, Google," and then say the information that you would like to know. So performing a hands-free Google search, once again, is extremely useful. And another feature that is absolutely awesome here on Glass is the hands-free voice-activated directions. And you'll receive your directions via voice activation here on the bone conduction speaker. So without having to actually look at a GPS system inside of your car or look at your GPS on your phone, having this over your right eye and actually having turn-by-turn directions with actual voice prompts and voice commands on where to turn and step-by-step directions is a definitely priceless feature here on Google Glass. However, this is a very controversial feature as well, as a lot of police officers are saying that they do not approve of U.S. residents driving around with Google Glass on. Now, in my opinion, it is not intrusive at all when it comes to driving. It is similar to glancing up to your rearview mirror and checking out what could possibly be behind you, or glancing down at your speedometer and checking your speed. That's how fast and quick you're looking up at Glass just to check information. Once again, just like you would looking at your rearview mirror or looking down at your speedometer. So the police officers' arguments were that the seconds that it takes to glance up at Glass can be the only few seconds it takes to crash into somebody. But in my opinion, those few seconds are also the same few seconds when you're looking up at your rearview mirror or down at your speedometer. Next is, what do you see? Now, this is extremely hard to portray what you actually see through Glass, but what you're actually looking at is this prism here that has a high resolution display with a prism projection of 640 by 360, and that's equivalent to viewing a 25-inch HD TV from a distance of 8 feet away. Now, a lot of people ask me, does the prism actually obstruct your view? And the answer is no. As you guys can see, it is sitting above your eye, so you actually have to glance up to see the screen, for one. And two, the screen is also translucent, so you can see right through the screen, which I think was an awesome idea for Google to make the screen translucent. Now, obviously, the things that you do see on Glass do change. So, for instance, if you are using a GPS feature, you will have a map pop up with an arrow showing you turn-by-turn directions. And once again, you will get voice notifications from your GPS feature as well through the bone conduction speaker, as I mentioned before. Now, if you're doing a Google search, you will get the information displayed above your right eye. So it is just basically a hands-free computer over your face, which I think is an awesome idea and is definitely the future when it comes to wearables. Next up is, how useful is it? Now, in my opinion, Google Glass is extremely useful when it comes to numerous things. Like we mentioned before, the turn-by-turn directions is priceless to have on your face. And also being able to take pictures without having to ruin the moment and tell somebody when you're in a perfect moment, oh wait, let me grab my phone out, hold still and don't move while I capture this picture. You're able to actually just push the screen right there in the middle of your actual moment and not be taken away from that moment, which in my opinion, again, is extremely priceless. Also, the ability to be able to record something in video formation in high definition, hands-free, and be able to maneuver your hands. So let's say you're a doctor and you want to record a procedure and then go back and show it via a presentation to a class full of students who are learning how to be a doctor, then that is extremely useful. It is extremely sanitary when it comes to doctor and medical type environment. Now, Glass is going to be extremely useful when it comes to law enforcement as well. Now, up to this point, law enforcement has only had cameras in their car, so once they get out to chase somebody, they are on their own when it comes to whatever the suspect says happened from that point on. Now, with Glass on, you're going to be able to fully record everything, even when running and capturing a fugitive on the run. So there is numerous situations where Glass can be extremely helpful in different occupations. But once again, it is not only occupations where it's useful, it is in your everyday life as well. Next is another question that I get asked all the time, and that is, where do you feel is inappropriate to wear Google Glass at? And in my opinion, I think that it's inappropriate to wear Google Glass in certain situations. One situation would be if you're going to a movie theater, which in my opinion, that's just not cool to wear glass while you're viewing a movie, for the simple fact that you can be recording something, and it just makes the overall staff in the movie theater tremendously uncomfortable. And there was actually someone who got approached by national security officers for wearing glass inside of a movie theater, and they were asking him if he was actually recording video, and they wanted to actually go through his glass unit and see what pictures and what videos he had on his glass. So an overall general basic rule for glass is to not pull out glass or wear glass anywhere that you wouldn't pull out your phone at. Now, somewhere else that I wouldn't wear glass at is that somewhere where people feel uncomfortable around glass. So if I'm making someone feel uncomfortable, like if they think I'm recording them and they can't simply get over the fact that they think that. I mean, I've approached people and let them know that I wouldn't record you unless I asked your permission, or I actually try to educate them a little bit too as well, and let them know that if I'm recording you, glass is actually on and you can see the display on, and I have to actually be looking straight at you. So it's not like I can inconspicuously grab a video of you. I have to be staring straight at you. Which brings me to my next question, and that is, have you had any bad experiences? And I would have to say that I had one negative experience, but I have had at least 20 to 30 positive experiences. So let me go ahead and talk about the couple good experiences, and then I'll talk about the bad. Now, the first experience I had was when I went to check out an AT&T store with glass on. Now, I went in there to check out a couple different phones that had just been released, and as soon as I walked in the door, there was 5 or 6 AT&T employees there, and they all seemed to be kind of overwhelmed and didn't even want to approach me, which is the exact opposite of what they usually do. Usually they rush you, like in football, and try to be the first person to grab the sale, because I know they work off commission there. So anyways, they didn't rush me like they normally do. They kind of sat back and were kind of checking out what I had on. So as I checked out a couple phones, one gentleman came up to me. He was an employee, and he asked, was that Google Glass? And I immediately thought to myself, wow, it doesn't say Google Glass anywhere except for the inside of the unit, which he couldn't see. So I thought, well, he definitely knows something about glass. He might not know the specifics, but he already has a general idea that this is Google Glass, which I thought was already pretty cool. So he proceeded to ask me 3 of the basic questions that a lot of people normally ask me. First asked, what does it do? Which is probably the most common question, because a lot of people have to be semi-educated to start asking in-depth questions. So the first thing that they ask is just a general basic question, and that is, what does it do? Which is kind of hard to answer because of that reason. It is too much of a basic question. There is plenty of things and a ton of things that glass does. However, I have to basically tell them some of the most main important features, which in my opinion were some of the things that I've already talked about here, which is that you can make a phone call, you can record a video, you can take a picture, you can perform a Google search, and also I always tell them about the voice activated and hands-free directions. Now, he didn't ask me to wear glass, but he was kind of hinting towards the fact that he wanted to try glass on. One of the features that helps show glass to people in the My Glass app is the screencast capability, where you can show what you see on glass actually on your phone. Now, another thing I like to do when showing people glass is I like to show them the Easter egg that Google has put onto glass that not a lot of people know about. So to initiate that, you need to have glass on and you need to swipe forward 9 times. And once you do that, you will see an awesome photosphere showing the entire Google team that worked on glass itself and the manufacturing process of glass in its entirety. Now, one thing that's cool about that is, once again, it's a photosphere, which means that you can actually look around and see the entire glass team, and this looks absolutely awesome when it's on your face. I know it looks awesome on a phone where you can look around as a photosphere and kind of see what you're looking at, but looking at the Easter egg and the photosphere here on glass, it looks absolutely awesome in my opinion, and it does look like virtual reality. You can look up and you actually see the ceiling, you look down, you can see the ground, you look around and you can see the entire glass team, once again sitting down, some standing up, and there is probably about anywhere from 80 to 100 people, and you can actually move your head around and see every single person. So once again, that is an awesome feature that I like to show people, and it is the Easter egg that's on glass. So once again, the gentleman was at work there at AT&T and was not able to ask me specifically if he could try on glass, as there were people there and customers that he had to tend to. However, I could tell that he definitely wanted to try on glass. And the next thing he asked me was, how much was it? And I told him the price, and like everybody, their jaw drops when they hear the price tag. He didn't seem to be turned off too much by the price. He did seem to be amazed and wowed at how much it was, but he didn't seem turned off still. And he ended up having to return back to work. So that wasn't a full encounter in my opinion, because he didn't have enough time to actually go through everything and ask me probably what he wanted to. So anyways, that was my first encounter. My second encounter was at a gas station, and I was actually putting in gas, and this was an older gentleman and his wife. He kind of noticed me at the same time I noticed him, and he immediately said, "Excuse me, sir, is that Google Glass?" And I looked up and I replied, "Yes, sir, it is." And he kind of chuckled and told his wife, which I remember her name as Nancy. I remember him saying, "Nancy, Nancy, look." And I remember her having her window down already and her looking out her window saying, "I know, I see him, I see him." Which is pretty cool in my opinion, because these people were probably in their 50s or 60s. And he only asked me one question, and that was, you could tell he was in a hurry, and he asked me probably the most important question out of all questions you can ask, and that was, is it worth the money? And in my opinion, I said that it was, and I said that especially if you're a developer, and I kind of ran down a couple of the things that made it even more of an important reason to have glass. We only talked for probably about 20 seconds. I remember him telling me when he left, "You're the first person I ever seen wearing glass." And next I'll briefly talk about the slightly negative experience that I had. I was actually at an amusement park. There were some older teenagers, and I would say teenagers, possibly they were in their lower 20s, and there was a group of about 7 of them together. And once they seen glass, they kind of all got this little weird smirk on their face and kind of were all mumbling to each other, and immediately all stared at me, all 7 of them, which was kind of intimidating. Like I said, there were probably about 7 or 8 of them, all in around their upper teens or lower 20s, and they seemed to be disturbed by the fact that I had glass on. Although I didn't leave, I stayed there probably for about another hour. I didn't get approached by any of them, but in my opinion, I would say that was slightly a negative encounter. Next up is kind of an advanced question that I get asked a lot, and that is there a way to get prescription frames on here if you actually wear glasses? And the answer is yes. And I actually made a video going over 2 different style prescription frames, both the split and the thin frames. I'll have both videos linked down below if you want to check those out. But there is 4 different frames total. There is curve, bold, split, and thin. They do come in the same colors that are available for glass, which you can also mix and match, which looks pretty cool in my opinion. And also, there are 3 different shades that are available for glass as well. So we have the Edge, a Classic, and an Active. Now, if you want to purchase, before I go any further, if you want to purchase the prescription frames, they do cost $225 per unit. Now, back to the shades. Once again, 3 different styles, Edge, Classic, and Active, and those cost $150 a piece. And the ones that we have here are the active shades. And a lot of people ask me, is it hard to put the shades on glass? And in my opinion, I would say no, it's actually pretty easy. It does seem like it would be difficult. So let me go ahead and show you how easy it is. It actually is going to be kind of difficult because I'm behind the camera, but that's the only reason why. So the best way to do it is to grab your glass from the front, grab the front of the frames, and you want to slide it in between. You can kind of see it grabs both the front and back. Now you want to twist them up, and that's all you got to do to attach the actual frames. Now once again, there is 3 different shade styles, and this is the active shade. And in my opinion, it does a great job at blocking the sun. It also provides a very thin form factor. As you can see here, they're not very thick at all. And it also helps to stabilize the glass when they're on your face. So sometimes you'll notice glass is kind of crooked a little bit. Well, having these shades on actually helps to stabilize glass and bring them more steady on your face. It also makes them a little less intrusive looking, in my opinion. So when you actually have these shades on, they look more like glasses rather than a computer that you're wearing when you have the shades off. Now to take them off is just as simple. You just pull these down and that's it. Now charging glass is very easy. All you need to do is come down here to the bottom of the unit. You can see you have your micro USB charging port there. You have your adapter here. All you need to do is plug it in just like this. Now let's say glass takes about 3 hours to fully charge, and the power cable actually acts as a stand when you're charging them as well. Next, let's talk about accessories. Now there are some accessories for glass. You can get a stereo earbuds, which costs $85. So instead of having a single mono earbud, you can have dual stereo earbuds, which of course are going to sound better for audio and music playback. Next, you have a clear shade option, which gives you similar to the shade that we looked at earlier, but it is just a clear shade. You can buy that for $75. We also have a pouch that you can purchase, or a secondary pouch to purchase, that is available for $50. And there also is an option to buy a hard shell case that comes with the prescription frames for $75. Alright guys, so lastly, my overall opinion. My overall opinion on Google Glass is I think this is the ultimate wearable piece of technology. It is probably the most innovative thing that Google has created, in my opinion, besides some of the other things that they're working on, such as robotics and stuff like that. But when it comes to actual wearable technology and technology in general that's released to the public, even though glass has not yet been released to the public, I still think that this is probably one of the most innovative things that they've came up with. Now, it should be released later in 2014 for a lot of people who are asking me that question. So in my opinion, we'll find out more in June in the Google I/O conference. However, for now, I think that it will be released at the end of the year in 2014. And once it is, if it is released for a price tag of $500 or less, I see Google Glass as being widely adopted by everybody. And this is something that's going to be a household name, in my opinion. It is something that's going to be huge and a widely adopted product. So this is the future of wearables and wearable technology. Now, right now, do I see it worth it at $1,500? I would say no, probably not, unless you are a complete wearable enthusiast like myself, unless you have $1,500 to just burn a hole in your pocket with, and also unless you're a developer. Now, if you're a developer and you are looking to create applications for glass, then I'd say that it's definitely worth it, because now is a great time to get your applications out there first for glass. That way you can be one of the first developers to have a very nice application out on the glass platform. Now, on one hand, I can recommend glass, and on the other hand, I can't. Now, the reasons that I can't recommend glass is, for one, the price tag. $1,600 after tax is a huge price to pay for smart glasses. Now, the second reason that it's hard for me to recommend is that this is still beta software as well as beta hardware. So once again, this is probably not how the consumer version of glass is going to look, for one. And for two, the operating system and the actual internals and the software of glass will be a lot different than, once again, is released as a consumer version to the public. Now, once again, we're on Android KitKat, and we're also on XE17, which has seen some very good improvements since the last software updates. However, I don't see glass as being completely stable yet when it comes to the software. In my opinion, the software and the hardware is still in complete beta form. So once again, it is hard to recommend something that's still in beta to an average consumer. Now, on the other hand, there are those people that just are completely into wearable technology and are completely into the latest and greatest things. And in my opinion, this is definitely one of the latest and greatest things. Now, Google made a $1,500 price tag for a reason, and it is because they wanted the most enthusiastic and the most dedicated people to grab glass. They didn't want just somebody who wanted to just try it out and just tinker around with, a couple $100s to blow. They wanted someone who actually had $1,500, $1,600 to put away and to actually invest in a piece of technology that they're going to wear every day and send feedback to Google. It is something that is extremely important to Google, and I have to say that Google does respond and does hear your feedback. Be sure to report back to the Google affiliates and let them know your actual experiences, good or bad, with glass. Well, that's going to do it for me on this one. I hope this answered some of the questions you have about Google Glass. If there is still some questions that you need answered, be sure to leave them down in the comment section below, and I will try to answer them for you. Come check out my new website, SmartGlassFans.com, which is dedicated to nothing but wearable technology and specifically focuses on Google Glass itself. Now, I am currently working with a sponsor to produce another Google Glass International giveaway. I'd like to send a big shout out to everybody who subscribed to me here on YouTube, and also to everybody who follows me on all my other social networks. Well, that's going to do it for me on this one, guys, on this part 1 of this 2-part series on Google Glass. Be sure to check out part 2. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.